So this morning I want to talk about the Autotiller, which I've had now for 3 seasons. This is the Raymarine ST1000. And originally, I bought it. I thought that it would help me do videography, taking photos. I was very concerned about changing out head sails because I had bought my smaller number 4 80% heavy weather jib. And it can be difficult to go forward when nobody's piloting the boat and be up on the bow for a few minutes while you're changing out a hank down sail. And so that was my idea when I bought it. And the reality is that I haven't used it very much. A big part of that is the variable winds here because I'm in the mountains, sailing at 8,600 feet. And the terrain here, as you can probably see, the winds are really shifty, in all the little saddles and the valleys and, around the mountains. The wind, as you're going down the lake, it'll shift quite a bit. And so it's really hard to use an autotiller when the wind is, constantly shifting because the autotiller is set to a heading. And you set your sails for, say, a beam reach, and then if the wind shifts 45 degrees, the autotiller isn't going to keep you on a beam reach. And typically that's how I sail in the mountains is I set my sails and then I tend to turn as the wind changes to keep on that beam reach or close hauled or however I am. I tend to adjust my course to match how my sails are set because typically I'm not trying to get from point A to point B. I'm just out here enjoying the lake, and so it's a little easier for me to sail that way. But of course the autotiller doesn't do that at all. A wind vane will, but the autotiller is going to keep you on that setting. And so out here in the mountains, you have to constantly be adjusting your sails and potentially tack or jibe as the wind shifts 25, 35, 40 degrees. And so that's probably the first reason why I haven't used it very much. The other thing is that for like filming and videography, I've had every time I put music in a video, people complain about it. They're like, oh, great visuals, but boy, that person singing in the background is terrible. And so people, at least my viewers, I guess, like nature sounds, the sounds of the birds, the sounds of the wind, the waves. And so the autotiller, as you can probably hear right now, it makes a lot of noise. And so it is really hard to get any kind of good video that doesn't have, it's hard enough to get, boats going by and people on the shore screaming at their kids and even trucks driving down this road that's over here on the east side of the lake. Like you can hear all that when you're on the water. Airplanes flying by. And so it's really hard to get good quality, just natural sound of the environment. And when you add the autotiller to it, it just makes it that much harder. And then the last thing is, so I bought it to be able to change out that head sail. And originally, the thought was I would have the main up and I would have the autotiller on. I'd go forward and change out the head sail. But of course, when I'm doing that, it's because the wind is really picking up. And so I did that a couple times, but it was a little nerve-wracking. And so what I found to be a lot easier is I go hove to, I double reef the main, and then I just pull down all the sails. So I pull down the main after it's double reefed, and I pull down the head sail. And then I go forward, so I'm just drifting with bare poles, and I go forward and I change out the hank down sail. And then, it's very easy to, of course, you can raise the head sail in any direction of travel. And so it's very easy to raise the head sail and then raise a double reefed main because it's just not that much sailcloth. And so you can even, raise the head sail and then raise the main and go right back into a hove to position. I mean, that's easy enough. Or you can just go back to sailing. But, drifting with bare poles, as long as you do it in the right spot, not a big deal. And I've done it many, 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 many times now. And so, the autotiller, you have to take it out. I store it down here. I have to take it out, plug it in, It's just a lot easier to just go bare poles, right? Double reef the main, go bare poles, drift, change out the head sail, re-raise the main, and sail away. Like, it's actually a lot faster. And it's not nerve-wracking because you're not worried about a wind shift when you're on bare poles. Like, it just doesn't matter. So you're not worried about the wind shifting or even the wind increasing because you're just drifting. And so, there's no heeling on the boat. It makes it really, really nice. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So, do I regret purchasing and installing the ST1000? No, not at all. I do use it, and right now it's been great. I've gotten all the way across the lake, and it's kind of a rarity right now that the winds are from the same direction and fairly consistent. Even though I can tell it's going to definitely pick up because there's a whole bunch of storm clouds moving in all around me. But for right now, it works, and like I said, I don't regret purchasing it. Certainly, if you're in a coastal area or somewhere where the winds are more consistent, if you're not sailing in the mountains, you're going to get a ton more use out of it than I do, because you can just set it and forget it, right? If you're, I used to live in Daytona Beach. I mean, all day we would get the wind off the ocean or the wind off the shore, but it was nice and consistent all day. And yeah, you can just set your autotiller and sail away. And so, in those kinds of environments and those conditions, it's a great tool, great tool. And certainly if you're doing, if you're sailing across Lake Michigan or, some larger body of water, then yeah, it comes in super handy. You can use it for, while you're preparing meals, you don't have to go hove to, right? And then lose all your progress. You can just put on the autotiller, assuming you have pretty good consistent winds, prepare a meal, take a potty break, maybe even, I don't know if I'd nap with it on, but to each his own, I guess. You do what you got to do. So yeah, I mean, I think if I wasn't in the mountains, I would get a ton more use out of it, but no regrets. It's a handy tool. I like having it. And it has come in very handy when I've used it. So, all right, well, as always, I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.